you got to realize that whatever you're doing, you're competing with somebody. What is it that gives you an advantage over your competition? Whatever you're good at, try to be great at it. And if you're great at it, good things will happen.
Maverick. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Maverick. Today, we have a superstar in the building, the one and only Jula Harjo. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm super excited for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Heste stongo Jula Harjo Jahajipkodos. My name is Jula Harjo. I am Choctaw Creek, Seminole, Paiute, Shoshone, and Ho-Chunk.
Awesome. Very cool. And what do you like to do? I know I saw that you were into fashion. You're also into acting. What else do you have going on?
So I am a mother, daughter, sister, granddaughter, etc. I'm also a beadwork artist. I make jewelry and other kind of like accessories. I'm also a language student. I'm a Skokie language student. And then acting and modeling also.
Wow, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about growing up. Did you grow up in Oklahoma? Where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I grew up predominantly in Idabel, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Which is southeast Oklahoma. And then I moved around a little bit growing up, just other places in Oklahoma. Stillwell, Oklahoma. I lived in Wisconsin, where my mom is from. And then I actually lived in Missouri when I was younger. My parents met and I lived at Haskell Indian Nations University in Lawrence, Kansas until I was about 4. So I'm a Haskell rascal.
Okay,
There's
cool.
a little term. But yeah, mostly I lived most of my life in Idabel, Oklahoma.
What kind of, person were you as a kid?
I was always outdoors, typical kind of country kid. But I loved reading books. I always had a book. I did play a lot of sports growing up. I played football.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So
I can't just gloss over that. Tell me
football.
How did that happen? And what position did you play?
So my little brother played, because it's like a rite of passage for every boy down there. It's football, Oklahoma football. But I wanted to play just because I was a tomboy growing up and, I wanted to play. I always played in the neighborhoods and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just for fun, 5th grade. And then 8th grade, I went to a little ORES school called Forest Grove, and they had 8-man football. Well, they only had 8 or like 9 people.
Oh, wow.
They needed another one.
Yeah.
And my dad was the coach, and there was an older guy. His name was Coach Cooper, D. Cooper, and I love him to death. And he was like, we need somebody else. Somebody got hurt or something. And my dad was like, I got somebody. He's like, go get him then. Go get him from class.
Yeah.
The boys had different, athletic hours. So he came and got me, walk out there, and he was like, oh, no. So then they had me like running routes and stuff, and he was like, fine, she could play.
Nice. You suited up and everything?
Suited up, yeah. And we actually won the state championship that year.
Oh, wow.
RES.
Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
What did you play? Cool. What position did you play?
I was a receiver and a backup quarterback.
Okay, cool. So you were pretty fast then, it sounds like.
Fast enough.
Yeah.
I could catch really well. So
yeah.
It was like wherever it was good. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. What was that like? Did you do it for several years after that? Or was it just in case that one year they needed an emergency player or what?
Kind of, they just needed another player,
yeah.
Really. I did want to play in high school, but my dad and my uncles were the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we can't watch you get hurt. And they had a lot of great players growing up. So it's like, I'll just be a film person instead, Okay. So I was fine with that.
Cool. So in high school, what were you into in high school then?
High school, I was all about just academics and athletics.
Okay.
So I did, when I was a freshman, I played softball, and then I moved to a different school and, basketball, track, cross country. When I went to Stillwell my sophomore year, I got to play soccer. That was really cool. I've always loved soccer.
Yeah.
I played that growing up, but never had it. In Oh, in seventh grade when I lived in Wisconsin, I got to play volleyball for the first time. That was
Okay.
awesome.
Cool.
And then I did play stickball and stuff when I was younger.
Okay.
But now that I'm older, that I'm a woman, since I'm a Muskogee, the women don't use stickball sticks, so
Okay.
I can only play like the social games now.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was that like growing up and having such a diverse background and the languages and everything? Did you just grow up knowing all that and just kind of second nature, or, what was that like for you?
Kind of. So I grew up like down in Idabel's Choctaw Nation. And I went to a church called Kalituklo, which means Two Springs in Choctaw. And they spoke Choctaw and during the services, and the hymns were all in Choctaw. So I was around that mainly. My dad did teach us some Creek growing up. Like my whole name is Creek Jula Harjo.
Yeah. Tell me about your name. You were telling me it has a cool meaning behind it.
So Jula means fox in
Yeah.
Choctaw and Creek. And then Harjo is actually Hajo, and it means, in English, means crazy, but really it's like recklessly brave or recklessly aggressive,
Okay.
kind of thing.
That's cool.
So my name is like Crazy Fox.
Do you know how that sort of got inspired? Why they came up with that name, or?
So Harjo is just a Muskogee last name, and then there's just been like Chito Harjo was a leader, and his name was Crazy Snake. But
Okay.
you could look up like the Crazy Snake Rebellion. But yeah, my dad he wanted to give us, me and my siblings, Muskogee names.
Yeah.
Or language in the name. So I'm Jula. My brother's name is Jadi, which means red.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sister's name, her middle name is Mahali, and it can be interpreted two different ways. Like, it could be like wind in Choctaw, or Motley, which is like Mary in Creek.
Okay.
And that was our great grandmother's name, so it's kind of like a
Awesome.
family name also.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're in high school, and then what did you want to do? You wanted to go into acting after that? You wanted to do fashion, or did that come, further down the road?
That came way further down the road. Yeah, I went to school at Bacone in Muskogee, and I ran cross country and track, and then I went to school for Indigenous studies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I started getting into acting until it was probably like 2018, 2017-ish.
Oh, wow. So
yeah.
kind of recent then.
Yeah. And then nothing really, it was like I did maybe two things, like kind of two like auditions. Nothing really came of it. I did a couple modeling things like for some like brands in Tulsa, just nothing, major. And then it wasn't until 2 years ago for Reservation Dogs, and then it was like that happened. Then it was like boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah, so
Things
you
just
were
like a
on
domino.
Reservation Dogs.
Mhm.
Really? Tell me about that. What was that like? Because that show blew up. Like I feel like for the first episode, it just like it was a hit.
Mm-hmm. So Sterling Harjo is the mastermind, one of the masterminds, and he actually reached out to me. I've done a project for him before, and he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, like, you want to be on the show?" And I was like, I wanted to be like, "Am I reading this right? This is a joke. You got hacked. This is not real." But yeah, so I got to be on the show, and I played a nurse.
Okay.
And it was cool because I didn't have any lines. It was him singing. There was him singing in the episode. And that was the work I did for Sterling before, as I sang a hymn for a project of his. But also, since I didn't get like technically any lines, I was in like the first opening scene of the of the show, and I didn't know that was going to happen.
Isn't that when they steal all the potato chips or something like that? Isn't that the first one?
So this was the second season at the fourth episode.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like take a pot of water, like I was making tea.
Yeah.
But I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God.
You didn't know it was in there?
Well, I knew, but I thought it was going to be like a simple, like a quick little thing. And
Got
it was
it.
still quick, but it was like, that was the first thing.
Yeah.
Like, that was so cool to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where did they mainly shoot that? Was it here in the state, or where did they shoot it?
The episode that I was in, it was in Okmulgee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was really cool.
That's awesome. What was that like? Was that sort of your first big experience as far as recording, or you'd done other projects prior to that?
No, that was like my first
Yeah.
big one, if not my first one, that I
Yeah.
consider. But yeah, everyone was super cool. Auntie B on the show, her name is Kimberly Guerrero. She's actually from Idabel, Oklahoma
Okay.
too. So that was really
Awesome.
cool.
That's cool.
To talk to her. I've known of her, like everyone knows who she is, and but to get to talk to her, and she was just like, "Come here, like
Yeah.
come sit by us," and I'm sitting by like all the main
That's
actors and
cool.
actresses. I was like
Did
a
you
little
meet,
kid.
what's her name? Mike Bone and
No,
those guys?
they
No?
weren't there that
No?
day. No.
Okay.
No.
Those guys always seem like they're having fun
Oh
everywhere.
yeah, always.
Whatever they're doing, they're always having a blast.
They
Yeah.
came to the when I went to school at Stillwell. They came and I was like so excited, and it was
Yeah.
like it was so cool to meet them.
That's
They're
awesome.
funny.
Cool. So I was going to ask you, as far as like auditioning, being in Oklahoma, how did you go about that? What's the process, right? Because it's not typical Hollywood or New York here. So how do you go about finding auditions and finding out about films and stuff like that?
So I couldn't really do it for like Res Dogs because I got,
They recruited you,
they,
right?
yeah. And I always felt kind of weird whenever people would be like, "How did you do that?" I tried to
Yeah.
apply, and I'm like, not without sounding like a, but I did go to the open audition that they had. I think that was in Tulsa that they had it, and the line was so long. It was
Oh, really?
an all-day affair. Like it was wrapped
Crazy.
around. But there is a what is it called? I don't want to say it wrong. It's like Freyhofer, Freihofer casting. And I think you can like subscribe to like a list, like they'll email
Okay.
you like different auditions or like when they're looking for people. I probably get like multiple emails a day, like
Wow.
people looking for what's it called? Like photo doubles or like someone who looks like the actor to like stand-ins
Okay.
kind of thing. Yeah.
That's cool.
Or like commercials and stuff. People will be looking for. They use that company.
Yeah.
That casting. Yeah.
Was anybody in your family into sort of the arts or creative like that? Or are you the first one to break into acting?
I'm kind of the first one.
Yeah.
I know my mom modeled. My mom modeled when she was younger too.
Okay.
But it wasn't for. I feel like I'm. What's the word? I'm grateful for being able, like, having the ability and having the opportunity to model and kind of like showcase native and in like indigenous art and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, that's something that's really. I think about that almost every day.
Yeah.
The First Americans Museum in OKC.
Okay.
They had a fashion show, the Teton Trading. They had a fashion show, and that was, I want to say that was kind of my first one, and I don't remember what year that was. That was a couple years ago,
Mhm.
but that was really fun to see, like just all the different, like how the different levels. It could go from like streetwear to like couture, like bougie
Yeah,
dresses, like
that's
big,
awesome.
beautiful, like you would wear to like a ball or something, some
Okay.
kind of awesome, like crazy party. But just to see all the creativity like in one place was awesome.
Yeah.
Like to see, and I love modeling for Dr. Jessica Harjo. Her line is it's spelled Weomepe, Weompe.
Okay.
And I just modeled for her in a show in Tulsa in October, and that was really fun. I loved all the pieces that she had. It ranged from like she actually had like some joggers, like again streetwear,
streetwear.
to like one of my best friends, Sherika. She wore a like it was kind of like a Hollywood, like an indigenous Hollywood red carpet kind of feel. Like she
Yeah.
had like a flowy dress and like this kind of like what's it called? It's kind of like a lacy, almost looked like a boa,
Okay. That's awesome.
That was really cool. And she had like these gloves and was just really working it,
Cool. Did you have to go to training or practice to be able to do all the fashion stuff as far as like walking and everything like that? I know there's a lot that goes behind the scenes to be able to look, the part while you're running on the runway, right?
Yeah. Most of the time our designers have us throughout the time that we're there. Like our call time would be like, I think that one was like 10-ish. And then the show wasn't until later that evening, but all throughout the day, it's kind of like we'll practice our walk or practice our lineup and things like that, just to make sure everything's like up to par, like no one's got crazy arms or,
Walking in heels, I bet, is probably difficult too if you have to do that, right?
I feel like I practice like when I have a show, I practice like whole month before, or like when I find out about it, I'm like, oh,
heels all day.
heels,
Yeah,
just walking on every kind of surface like carpet, hardwood floor, and whatever.
Man, but it sounds like you enjoy it. And then we were talking off camera that you just got news that you're going to be in a pretty big show here coming up, right?
Yes, in Swaya in May, in Santa Fe.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that. I've been once, and I went for I think it was their 100th fashion, like annual fashion show.
Okay.
And I think that was either last year, year before. But I had never been to Santa Fe before, and that was just I loved it. It was so pretty.
The architecture, the food, it's like a different vibe, right?
It was like I've traveled, but I've never been to like, Arizona, New Mexico. I have friends from there, great friends from like college and stuff, and cross country runners.
Oh, okay.
So but yeah, I'd never been out there, but it was like a totally different.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was so beautiful.
That's cool. So do you think that you're going to just continue doing the fashion and the acting both? It sounds like you enjoy both, right?
I mean, as long as I can, you know, like when opportunities come my way. My parents raised us to give thanks in the abilities that we have, like, be grateful and give thanks to, Creator, that we wake up every day, we can walk, we can run, we can breathe, so it's like me using my gifts, of being able to model, being able to, do these things, is like I'm giving thanks to Creator and also to like our ancestors who worked so hard for us to be here today,
Yeah, definitely. And also just, in the short amount we've been talking, it sounds like you're a big proponent of keeping traditions alive and culture and everything like that. So is that something that you also sort of like, you're I'm going to do this, I'm going to represent where I come from and keep traditions alive. Is that something that you're mindful of?
Yes, very mindful, because there are some things that like I can and cannot do like during certain times. I know there was one time where I couldn't wear a certain piece because as a Muskogee woman, I'm not allowed to touch feathers from birds of prey.
Oh, okay.
So it was like an eagle feather or something, or a hawk feather. I can't really remember. And they were trying to like put it in my hair. I was like, oh.
You're like, nope.
Yeah. Hey. 6 feet. But I was like, oh, I can't wear that. But being around other Native people, they were like, oh, okay. Like, I totally understand. No questions asked, you know.
Cool.
So that was awesome. But there's just some things that I can and cannot do. And I know it's the same for other tribes too. There's some like restrictions for, each individual.
Do you find it difficult to keep some of those traditions alive? I know I see in my culture, the Hispanic culture, some of the traditions are kind of dying off because, people aren't doing it. They're not accustomed to it. And sometimes you see some of those traditions go away.
Yeah, there's a lot of like traditions are hard. Like, having to have like rules and regulations is always hard. And I know some people who, and honestly, it's one of those things where if you practice it at this point, even if you only do it a little bit. There are some things that I feel that can be kind of so-so, but also on the other hand, there are some things that you either do it or don't, know, like for our ceremonies, you're not supposed to be on your, like on your monthly or your menstrual cycle. Like that's a no-no. You can't be pregnant out there. Like, you can't, show up drunk or, high, those kinds of things. But,
Sure.
There have been some instances where things like that have happened. And I know it's kind of, I don't really powwow, but I know like, in the powwow circle, like there's different regulations for those kinds of things too.
Got it.
But it's just one of those things too, where if you were raised with it, and then if you were kind of introduced to it later on in life, there's always room to learn, so it's like, if you don't know, ask, kind of,
Yeah.
So,
How the traditions, how are they passed down from generation to generation?
um, just by word of mouth,
Okay.
like if my Nana taught me a lot, and then my mom, my dad, and um, really just family. Like, you learn things and when I grew up, it was one of those, you don't learn, and kind of like you learn the hard way in a way.
Okay.
um, but I like to tell people, like, just almost like gentle parenting, like, we don't do that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I really wish we could, but we can't. Um, so yeah, it's just basically like, I do write things down though. Like when if I hear something that I'm like, oh, I've never heard that before, I'll write it down just to make sure that I remember to, and then I can pass that down.
Got it. That's very cool.
Mhm.
How did the beadwork, come about? Because that's another thing about you doing the beadwork and stuff like that, right? How did you get started in that?
It was actually during COVID.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was? Okay.
Nobody in my family beads. So that was, I couldn't, like, pick up the phone and be like, hey mom, how do you do this?
Yeah.
But it also was like illegal, until about 46 years ago to do that, to practice our culture. So, um, you know,
Why is that? I'm
due
not
to
familiar with that.
due
Tell
to
me.
like boarding schools.
Oh,
So,
okay.
it was one of those kill the Indian, save the man,
Oh,
so they
really?
stripped the culture to try and, what's the word, civilize,
Oh, okay.
native children. So they started from the roots,
Wow. So that included everything, even like artwork, beadwork, all that
all of it,
stuff.
all of
Really?
it. So
Okay.
they converted them to, and took away the language. They weren't allowed to speak any languages. That's
Mm.
why there's so many people that don't have access to their language, to their ancestral language, because it was stripped and
Yeah.
there was no one else to teach them. So that's why I try not to discourage people when it comes to, like, beadwork, or, finding out, kind of like who they are. I don't, when people are like, I don't know so about this, I'm like, I can teach you, or I can put you in contact with someone who will
Yeah.
teach you.
That's awesome.
I'm all about that. But the beadwork, it was, there was somebody who was selling, like, beadwork kits, a friend of mine, and so she sent me one, and I just kind of like went from there, and it was just something that I don't want to say came naturally, but I feel like I can be a little, what's the word, like OCD. So
Okay.
it was like I was very into like making the patterns and making sure, like,
That's cool.
3,
So it's kind of
3.
like meditative in a way, just
Oh
kind of
my
like
gosh.
focus on one thing.
Yes, because
Yeah.
it made me feel a lot better of doing that. And I felt like doing something productive other than like being on my phone or
Sure.
something,
Yeah.
So, and then being the first one in my family to do that, it was nice because then it was like I could just gift everybody like everything, like,
Yeah.
because beadwork is not cheap. Like, it's not. It's very expensive.
Is it difficult to source the materials and everything, or how'd you go about doing that?
So there's a lot of online stores too. There's a lot of
Okay.
like native owned beadwork
Okay.
like stores. And so I would just buy from them, or my mom, she lives in Wisconsin, and there's a store in Minnesota. I can't remember the name of it, but she would go there and buy me beads and then send them. She'd go, I would love a pair of earrings. And then the
Awesome.
next day I'd get a
Yeah,
package. I'm like,
that's cool.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I started that. And then so the Choctaw Nation thing, they had a casting call and for like a beadwork artist. And so I'm like the beadwork artist face for Choctaw Nation
No
at the moment.
way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Congrats. That's awesome.
thank you.
That's huge.
And the
Yeah.
other day they actually put mine and my friend Brenner, his pictures on the side of the, what's it called, the headquarters
Okay.
building.
So you got like a
building.
big
Yeah.
poster there.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
so someone sent a picture and was like, hey, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
You didn't even know?
No, that picture was huge.
Yeah.
And
That's
it was
awesome.
crazy.
So what
Yeah.
does that mean if you're the official for, the whole nation? What does that mean? You go to events, you give classes, like what do you do?
They actually just had me do like an interview and just kind of talking about my background and how I got into beadwork. And then I actually did film some tutorials, so that was
Okay.
really fun.
Cool.
But yeah, it's just kind of like another what's the word? Like another source, like,
Mhm.
for beadwork. So they whenever people would ask about it, they would just reference that video. So that was
Awesome.
cool.
And it's
I
keeping
do,
traditions alive that
yes,
way too, right?
yes, because
Yeah.
a lot of people were commenting on like all the posts, like on the Facebook and Instagram posts about how, oh, I would love to learn how to do beadwork. I've never been taught, and that's something I want to try.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see
Do
too.
you enjoy teaching? You think you could do that, or you're like, maybe not the teaching part?
So I do at the schools in kind of like Idabel area. I have done like beadwork classes before, like for the schools, and that was really fun. I love teaching like so it kind of would range from like the younger kids would do like bracelets or something like kind of like with pony beads, or some of them would venture to like the smaller beads, and then it would get more intricate as they got older. It'd go to the high
There's
school.
levels.
Yeah, I'd go to the high school and they're making like bracelets and lanyards and like keychains and stuff. So that was really cool. It was cool for them to be so invested in it too. Like that made me feel really good when I would go like year after year and they're like, oh, we get to make this time. I'm like, oh,
That's
you
awesome.
remember.
Yeah.
Some of them, I just hand them the materials and they just start going. I don't
That's
even need to
cool.
help them anymore.
And that's something that you sort of plan to continue as well. You just, it sounds like you really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's for like the JOM program, like the Johnson O'Malley, like the native. Yeah. So yeah, that's something that I really do enjoy. I love being able to kind of pass that on.
Yeah. What about the languages? Because I know even me with Spanish, if I don't practice it every day, I get rusty really quick. I can only imagine with so many languages that and everything. Like, how do you sort of, keep up to date with it and practice?
I do have a daughter, and I try to speak as much as I can to her.
Yeah.
And on YouTube, there's actually they had Zoom classes like during the pandemic and stuff, and then even now also. But they like put the recordings on YouTube. So when I feel like I'll kind of like go over them each week, like start at the beginning, or then once I feel like I've gotten past a certain point, I'll go to the next level and watch those. And the teachers are really great about breaking it down and stuff, and like making sure they help you with like pronunciation. And there are different dialects, like with every language.
Sure.
So they will go over like the different dialects. Sometimes they'll say like, some people say it this way, but that's wrong. Just kidding, just kidding.
Nice.
So
That's
yeah, they're
cool.
really, I love that Native people, indigenous people in general have like, that humor. So that's good too.
But it sounds like you sort of have to be sort of like mindful of, okay, I need a refresher, or I need a practice in order to keep up with that, right?
There will be days where like I'll forget a word and I'm like,
Uh-oh.
gosh, I know that word.
What about writing? Is writing difficult or no?
In a way, yes, but no. It's the alphabet is slightly different. Like my name would be spelt instead of Jula. Jula is kind of more like a phonetic, helpful for English speakers to say it.
Okay, so that's not really how it's spelled.
It's really supposed to be spelled like CULV or A. Like
God.
Jula. The C makes like a CH.
Yeah.
And a ch.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, and then the V makes like how in English a U would sound like a, and then the U makes like a double O, Jula.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's cool. So do you ever find in acting and the fashion and everything that you're doing that they try to put you in a box sometimes because they may see like your background and stuff like that? They try to put you in a box or no?
There have been I have actually turned down a couple opportunities because it was kind of like, I don't want to use the word like a fetish, like, but like how they tried to like put a weird stereotype on me for being a Native woman.
I see that with Latino acting too. Like they just want them always to be the gangster or whatever, right? They put them in a box. It's crazy.
And so, yeah, I've had to put a lot of things on hold and then eventually say sorry, but no.
Yeah.
For kind of things like that. I was like, oh, no, I'm doing that. I've had, people be like, well, you look like they would say things like, I've always gotten the Pocahontas reference because I have long hair and I'm a Native woman, and that's all they know. But, and then I have to, politely say, oh, no, that's not a compliment, or, I don't, but no thanks, know? So, but yeah, there have been times where, kind of like that, like, oh, you look like this, so we're going to put you as this,
So you just turn down the role until the right role comes around and you're like, okay, this is something I can be a part of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, like Reservation, being a part of Reservation Dogs was really fun because
Yeah.
it was like a totally different to see like Native people on the screen and then behind the camera and then running everything else. It was like, this is crazy. This is a dream right now.
Yeah.
I love it, but
And I felt like it was authentic too, right? Like they
Mhm.
didn't try to make up stuff or stuff that
Mhm.
wasn't right. Like it was authentic. I
Mhm.
think.
Oh yeah, I feel like almost mainly Muskogee people could relate, but it's like all Native people could relate to like at least something on the show. Like, oh my gosh, that's so us, you know?
That's awesome. And you also have a day job or what? I don't know if you want to talk about your day job or not.
I mean, so I work at a public school, like, you know, district. In the IT department.
Okay.
So my dad is in IT, and it's always funny when I go, because I just started this year, and I would go and someone puts in, we call them tickets, you know, put in a ticket for like something needed to be fixed or whatever. And I go, and my first day was with a male teacher, and he was like, hello, I don't need a sub today. And I was like, oh no,
Like,
I'm here to
fix the problem.
I'm here to fix your computer.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, because we all have like badges, like the key cards to get into the school. So I was like, oh no, I'm here, and it's got like IT department or tech department or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm here to fix your computer or whatever. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And he was like, oh, okay. Like he was trying to wrap his mind around it. I don't know if it's because I was new or I don't know, but it was just funny to see.
Yeah. Do you enjoy being in IT? I feel like that's like a 180 from everything we've been talking about.
Oh yeah, it's a definite 180. It has its good days and its bad days.
Yeah.
I work with some really great people who know their stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, being able to work with my dad. My dad works in the same place, so it's like it's pretty cool. I can be like, oh, I don't really know what's going on. Do you want to come help me? He's like, sure.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like
figure it
IT
out.
is like super structured, right? It's like you have to do it a certain way or it doesn't happen. And you're like, we're super creative. So does that like sort of like frustrate you? You know, it's like, I don't know.
That it kind of helps me in a way because like really you would think it would be more. I thought it was more, you know, I've learned a lot this year, but it's like thought it would be more structured, but it's more of like if there's a problem, you got to find all the ways to figure it out, you know, and it's like, so that really comes in handy when I'm like, man, why is that not working? And then I'm like, I go about it like 5 or 6 different ways, and then I finally get it. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. It's done.
Awesome. That's very cool. So I have here my notes to ask you about Echo. What does that mean exactly?
So Echo is a new TV series, a new Marvel TV series. Echo was a character on the show Hawkeye.
Okay.
You know, she was, and it's funny because she's actually technically a villain and is kind of like the first villain kind of, you know, spin-off kind of thing. But, so that's coming out, I believe, next month. Yeah. So, but yeah, just about that was another one of those, right after Reservation Dogs, like back-to-back thing. I thought it was like an accident. Where I didn't put in for the audition.
Really?
And one of my, I don't even know, friend covers it. I'm going to say friend, Pishon Bread. They are an amazing, you know, creative mind, producer, director, model, also, you know, designer. But they were working on the show, the production, and they needed some more people. And they gave my email to the, you know, casting department or whatever, and I honestly thought it was one of those like it was like kind of vague kind of thing. We want you to audition for this, and I'm like, oh, read it a little bit, and I was like, I don't know what this is. So I'm looking at it, and I was like, this is intriguing me right now. And it was a bunch of little snippet things that I had to do, so I did it. Didn't think anything of it. I think I was a little bummed because I had tried to put in for something else and I never heard back, and I was like, ugh, like, you know, oh well, oh, next time, you know. And then I was at the gym and I got a call, and it was from Georgia, and I was like, this is who the heck could this be? Hello, hi, is this Jula? Da, da, da. And I was like, oh yeah, and they're like, we'd like to offer you the part of this, and I was like, and I kind of didn't remember like what it was.
Oh, really?
I was like, okay, could you tell me more about that?
Yeah,
you know?
that's funny. You're like, I've had so many auditions lately. I just
I'm
can't
so
keep up.
busy.
Yeah.
But, so long story short, I ended up in Atlanta, Georgia to film this. And when I get there, it was like all these like famous people in Indian country were there. And I'm like,
No
hey,
way.
hey, I know you guys. I follow you on Instagram and
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, why am I here? Like,
That's
I don't
awesome.
understand. So then we like went and I got to go in like the studio, like the Marvel, studio and stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this is crazy. The one we were in was, they filmed, I think, what's it called? Haunted Mansion.
Oh, wow.
And stuff in there.
Very cool.
That was crazy. But we went and checked it out, and I remember I had always followed Pishon, but I had never met them like in person.
Mm-hmm.
So then, and we all were masked up, because we had been traveling and stuff. And I remember I saw them and I was like, that person looks familiar. Like, I can only see this much of their face.
Yeah.
And, they were like, Jula? And I was like,
That's
yes,
awesome.
hello.
So they recognized you.
Yes. And I was like,
That's pretty cool.
like, it's me, Pishon. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And then I started telling them, I was like, yeah, I don't even know how I got, and they were like, I put your email in there. I put it in for
Nice.
you. And I was like, oh my God, I love you. You're amazing.
That's cool. So that's coming out next month, you
Yes,
said?
yes.
Okay. And where can people go check it out?
Disney Plus.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus. Okay. And it's just called Echo?
I don't want to say too much because I don't know what I can say.
Yeah, I don't want to get you in trouble. That's cool. So how does that work? Because a typical job, you apply, you kind of know like, hey, we're going to pay this much or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know those details up front before you audition, or is it like after you get the part, then they tell you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After, when you like sign
Okay.
things. Yeah.
So how do you know like, hey, I want to do it or not? What if it's like not worth it, or maybe there's a big expense of going somewhere to shoot it or whatever, right?
It's kind of up to you. Like,
Yeah.
if that's something that you're willing to do. I know I've done a lot of things that were not paid at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just for me personally, just for the experience to kind of like get, kind of like dip my toes in the water and figure out what I want to do and what I don't want to do kind of
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, but it's like, I don't mind doing things and not being paid for it.
Okay.
If it's for like, especially like indigenous people, like to help uplift or like promote something,
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
that's just me. I know some people have different views and thoughts on
Yeah,
that.
definitely. The type of role that maybe you want to do in the future.
I'm not really sure.
Have you always been good, and maybe you want to be like a villain?
Oh
or
man, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if I kind of do want to be a villain. I've always
Yeah.
thought about that. I feel like
think it would be fun.
it'd be okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be fun to be like
Yeah.
an alter ego of yourself,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
to dive into that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you auditioning for anything right now, or are you waiting to the next year here to audition, or what?
I haven't auditioned for anything, but I do have there's this thing called War Angels, and it's like they're comic books, okay? And I just got casted as being one of the War Angels called Honahe, and so I'll be going to this like Comic-Con thing in Seattle in March. So I'm
That's
excited
cool.
for that.
Have you been to a Comic-Con? I've never been to a
No,
Comic-Con.
I've never been. No,
But
I'm
people
excited.
dress up, and
Yeah.
it sounds like it's fun, like everything I've seen. Right?
Mhm. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm excited. Like I get to be a character and like take pictures and talk
Yeah.
and whatever.
That's
So
cool. Sign autographs.
yeah. So then
That's
I'm
awesome.
actually like the live what's the word? Like the live person. I actually have a few comics that the person gave me, where my face is like on the comic.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's called War Angels.
Okay. That's cool. Let's talk about music. I always ask my guests, if I pull up your playlist right now, who's going to be on your playlist?
Russ. I've been
Russ?
really into
I'm a
Russ.
big Russ
I'm
fan.
a big Russ fan.
Yeah.
I've been actually on the way here. I was listening to his cover of "Fall for You."
Okay.
I love
Yeah.
I love that one. Russ. I listen to a lot of Spanish music. One of my favorite ones right now is "Disfruto" by Cara Morrison.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, she came to OKC like a few months ago. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I missed it.
She's an amazing singer. Even live, she's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Let's see what else. Grupo Frontera.
No
I listened to
way.
a lot of that.
Really?
Yes. Growing up in Idabel, there was a lot of like quinces and stuff. So
Okay.
like we'd always go to that. And me and my siblings, it's like we always just pick up the music from there.
Yeah. They just came like a few months ago
Oh
too.
my
You're missing out on all the
I'm
concerts.
missing out.
I'm just gonna start tagging you.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, a lot of Spanish music, and then I do listen to like different like round dance songs,
Uh-huh.
So, but yeah, it can go. My music goes all over. I listen to a lot of like Portuguese, like carnival stuff. Like
No way.
I love that music. It's
Okay.
crazy. Yeah, just a bunch of different stuff.
That's cool. What do you think about like reggaeton, like Bad Bunnies, J Balvin, stuff like
Benito,
that?
yes,
Yeah?
I love. Yeah, Monaco was really like, I know that's new, but
Yeah.
it's really good. What was that other one? Titi Pregunto.
Yeah,
I love
that's a
that
jam.
one. That's always
Yeah.
like the best thing.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So being in Idabel, Friday night weekend, I've never been. What's like the thing to do on the weekend?
It depends on what you're trying. Like, what's your vibe? Are you trying to chill out? The new thing is Hochatown, which is about depending on how you drive,
Okay.
20 to 30 minutes away from Idabel. It's called Hochatown, and there's lots of new cabins. I have a lot of friends who own cabins up there.
Yeah, that's they're like Bigfoot, like Bigfoot's
Oh
like,
yeah,
sightings
oh
or
yeah,
whatever, right?
so many
Yeah.
signs. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the big thing. But there's like they're like coming up with new stuff all the time. There's like
Yeah.
a maze. I haven't been to it yet.
Okay.
There's like an escape room. There's Beaver's Bend National, like the park is right there, and there's
God. That area, I feel like almost feels like you're in like Colorado or
It's-
something with all
yeah.
the big trees and the cabins and stuff like that, right?
the lake.
It doesn't
is the
feel
place
like
to be.
Oklahoma.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
There's so many different like what's the word, like terrains down there. Like there's swamps, there's alligators down there.
No way.
Yeah, a lot of
I
people.
didn't
I
know
feel like
that.
a lot of people don't know that there's
Yeah.
alligators. The Red Slough, kind of like going towards the Red River.
Yeah.
There's so many alligators. Like, and they
Interesting.
get them on game cans and stuff. Yeah.
That's something they should probably tell people because I feel like a lot of people go vacation and just hang out. They
Not
should
there.
know.
It's a little bit further.
little bit
south.
further?
Yeah,
Okay.
like you'd have to drive a little bit, but like in
Okay.
Hochatown, no. But yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff. There's some like restaurants and stuff, and like bars, and there's places to like go dance and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you are like a outdoorsy sort of person too, or what?
Yeah. I like to hike
Okay.
out there. Hiking
Yeah.
out there is really fun.
Okay. Cool. And growing up, were you also like into outdoor stuff or what?
Oh yeah. Yeah. My dad was a hotshot firefighter. So
Okay.
he kind of like instilled in us like those kind of like survival, tactics and stuff, and would teach us how to like build fires, and we'd sleep outside and stuff. And one of my favorite things to do when I was little was like fishing. So one of my great uncle's favorite stories about me was I found this kettle outside, went, washed it out, cleaned it out, caught a bunch of crawfish,
No way.
boiled the water, boiled the crawfish. I actually went up and like knocked on the door, and I was like, "Hey, like, what do I put in crawfish? Like, what makes
What?
it taste good?" And they gave me some seasonings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was.
That's
I was like,
awesome.
I remember doing that. So it's like,
So
kinda
you'll
crazy to
survive.
do.
You'll
I'll
survive. They
survive.
drop you in the middle of nowhere, you're gonna survive.
give me a kettle and
Yeah.
a machete, and I'm gonna.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I warned you I was going to put you on the spot. I usually ask people, tell me something that most people don't know about you. So I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Man, I can't say played football anymore. I guess maybe that I sing too. Like, I like to sing.
Really?
I've sang
Okay.
since I was little. I'm double jointed, like weirdly double
Awesome.
jointed.
Cool.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing.
What kind of stuff do you like to sing?
I like to sing. I like to sing a lot of Spanish music.
Okay.
And then I like to sing like hymns in Creek and in Choctaw. That's
Yeah.
something I do too. Is I sing Creek hymns and then post them like on different language, like on Facebook,
Okay.
like for people to learn. I had someone reach out and help me find these recordings, and they're kind of older, and it was kind of hard to hear. So I sang them also, like kind of like almost like redid them in a
Yeah.
way. So like it was, people could learn. It's like another source, like an online source for people to learn songs,
Wow.
like or learn like the tune and stuff.
Just like bleeding talent left and right. It's amazing. So can people send any your songs in Spanish out there? Or you posted any of those?
No, I've never posted any of those. No.
Okay, cool. All right, so we are running out of time, but before we sign off, I want to give you a moment to like plug in your social. Where can people, find you? I don't know if you've got an IMDb, keep up with your projects. Yeah, you've never looked?
No, I don't think.
I don't know how it works. I don't know if that
do.
gets like self-populated or they just tag you. I don't know how it works.
Your guess is as good as mine.
You should look into that.
I know I probably should. I really need to get.
Because it's like your
serious about
resume, right? Like
Yeah.
you could say Reservation Dogs, all this stuff. It's
Yeah,
like
I need to
building
do
up your
that.
portfolio.
Yeah, but really the only thing I have is Instagram, which is JULA_HARJO, Jula
Okay.
Harjo. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then I do have a beadwork page, and that's on my, main page too. So
Okay. So maybe next year, if you want to swing by or whatever, we can just talk about reggaeton or Grupo Frontera or whatever the case may be, right?
yeah, no,
Cool.
that'd be awesome.
All right. There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, the super talented Jula Harjo on the Maverick Podcast. Keep grinding because in dreams we trust.